We hype.
We hype. We hype and hype and hype. Hype, hype, hype. Hype, hype, hype. It's YoVideogames.
Woo! Get out, son! Get out! That's right. I'm changing things up on you guys this time. It's not going to be a rant. I'm not going to piss in anyone's Cheerios today. Today, I'm just going to tell you what I'm most hyped for. Now, I realize I'm a little negative, I'm a little cynical, and I'm a little down all the time in YoVideogames. But I figured maybe you guys want to know just what the hell do I like and what am I looking forward to. So here's going to be my top 10 list of next-gen games that I'm looking forward to. Now, for a little clarification, these are exclusive games, or nearly exclusive. In other words, they gotta be only appearing on one console. PC, I'm a little gray area on, so that doesn't really count. No third-party games are gonna be on this list. So what that means is you can expect to not see some of the big games like Metal Gear Solid 5, or Kingdom Hearts 3, or Final Fantasy 15. Because reality is, I don't give a shit about those games anyways. But what I am looking forward to is these games right here. So stick around and have fun and comment and subscribe below. First up is The Order 1886 by Ready at Dawn Studios. For those who don't know, Ready at Dawn were the creators of Daxter and the God of War games on the PSP, and they created the Okami port for the Wii, which they practically had to build from scratch themselves. So they've got a lot of chops and a lot of pedigree there. What's exciting about The Order 1886 is that it looks to take the first-person shooter into a completely new and unique setting. It's got a gothic Victorian mixed with steampunk horror vibe, and I really like that. At first this looked like it was going to be another co-op experience, but recent developer interviews have shown that this is going to have a very focused single-player story, which is really cool because honestly, I only really play a few big multiplayer games. Other than that, I don't really need any other ones to take up my time. So I'm really happy to hear that we're going to get a really cool setting and a really good single-player game out of this. The only problem is, we've really only seen concept videos and some screenshots and developer diaries, but we really haven't seen a lot of the actual game. So that's why it's not as high on this list. But still, it's got a lot of potential, and it shows that with the PS4 we're going to get new games and cool looking games. Just being new and different isn't enough. You gotta be cool as well. And The Order 1886 definitely looks cool, so looking forward to it. Number 9, Crimson Dragon. Crimson Dragon comes from the creators of Phantom Dust, and before that, the creators of Panzer Dragoon. The influence is obvious here. It's practically the same thing, just without the title. Now, obviously, this is a first-party Microsoft game, so of course we're not going to have the Panzer Dragoon lore and story and world, but it's practically the same damn thing here. What was once an Xbox Connect only download title has now become a Xbox One launch download title that has full controller support. This is a big deal for me. Now, again, the game doesn't quite look as beautiful as maybe you might expect, but again, this was an Xbox Connect game that was pulled last second to be made into a controller-compatible Xbox One title, and it is a brand new Panzer Dragoon game, a fully 3D on-rail shooter that nobody makes anymore, not even Nintendo, even though they're holding on to the Star Fox license. No idea what's going on there, but we do know we are getting a brand new 3D rail shooter in the form of Crimson Dragon, and I can't be more excited for that. Number 8, Guilty Gear Xrd. Guilty Gear X, when it came out on Dreamcast, blew everyone's balls off with its amazing fluid graphics. 14 years later, and Arc System Works is doing the same damn thing all over again, this time with polygons. Guilty Gear Xrd features some of the most beautiful CG we've ever seen in 3D models. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be a while before it comes out. There is going to be a PS3 and a PS4 version, but honestly, PS4 is probably going to be the way to go because it's definitely going to run the best and look the best on that. I'm glad there's going to be a PS3 version, but I remain very, very skeptical of the PS3 version retaining the fast, fluid frame rate. But regardless, it's going to be another great fighter. And if you're into fighting games, better start getting used to these because Capcom's probably going to be a while before its next fighting game's out. Number 7, Titanfall. The hype is real. I have played Titanfall. I've also seen it as well. Titanfall is just a great return to form for the fast-paced multiplayer first-person shooter genre. I know a lot of people like to decry Call of Duty as the franchise that ruined video games, but let's be honest, guys, it's just a lot of fun. It's fast-paced and it has a great, rewarding experience meter. It works. It's fun. If you take off the cynicism, you find that the games are actually great. Now, the Call of Duties have fallen into a bit of a decline, and of course that has a lot to do with the creators leaving to form Respawn Studios. Titanfall is their answer, and it's an awesome step forward. It brings as much to the first-person shooter table as it takes away. It takes away a lot of the clutter, a lot of the mess, a lot of the overdone, overstuffed kill streaks, and instead focuses narrowly on you, your jetpacks, and your mechs. These three core things make the game entirely fresh and fun, and most importantly, it doesn't feel overwhelming or one-sided in battles. Titanfall is real, it's the real deal, and I'm looking forward to it a lot on the Xbox One. I'm really curious to see what can possibly be done on the 360. I don't have much hopes for it, but we do know that at least on the Xbox One and PC, Titanfall is going to be the shit come next March. Number 6. Super Smash Bros. 4. Yes, I'm calling it Smash Bros. 4. I know it's called Super Smash Bros. 4 Wii U and 3DS. Sakurai is a lazy, unoriginal fuck in the naming department. He can eat my fucking chode. So, we're calling it Smash Bros. 4 here. Now, Smash Bros. 4, there's not really a whole lot to say. I'm really excited to see the return of characters like Sonic, as well as newcomers like Mega Man. I feel this really brings together the true multiverse Crisis on Infinite Nintendos that we've all wanted for so long. I think Sonic and Mega Man together is a better fit than Snake. No offense to Snake fans. I'd be happy if Snake's in it, but who knows at this point. Really, the only thing I can say about Smash Bros. 4 is that I'm really excited for it, especially on both systems. However, we have seen very little in the way of new gameplay mechanics. We've seen new characters that show new moves and new playstyles, which is really cool, especially stuff like Wii Fit Trainer. But we don't know anything really super intricate or detailed that's changing. We know it's faster than Brawl, but that's about it. And of course, no tripping. Now, it would be higher on my list had we known a little bit more about the game going in, other than who's returning and who's new. But regardless, Super Smash Bros. 4 is going to be the end-all, be-all local co-op fighting game for a long, long time. So for that reason alone, Super Smash Bros. 4 automatically earns a place on this list. Number 5, Rhyme. Holy hell, this looks like the video game of my dreams. A vast, open-world, slow-paced adventure game with the best use of cell shading outside of Guilty Gear. It looks sublime and perfect. However, the only one caveat is that we really don't know much about the gameplay. We know there's going to be exploring, we know there's going to be climbing, scaling, and we know there's going to be some sort of puzzle/combat element involved in the shadow creatures that haunt the night of Rhyme. The influences by the team at the Spanish developer have cited famous works from Salvador Dali all the way to Hayao Miyazaki. That alone is enough to seal the deal. This is the #1 reason I'm looking forward to the PS4, and shockingly enough, Rhyme is going to be a download title, which once again makes me question the point of retail games at all. If we're not going to get games like this at retail, and if they're only going to exist in download, then why do I bother buying discs? I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying original games like Rhyme are making a strong case for digital-only future. Speaking of digital-only future, number 4, Killer Instinct. Max has talked about this game to death, so I won't go into too much detail, but what I will say is that developer Double Helix is doing everything right. In the past, if you told me Double Helix was making a fighting game, I would have laughed in your face. But they've done the right thing. They got major fighting game players involved early on, and they are taking a very calculated approach to making this sure that every character feels right and plays well. Yes, the roster's small, but let me throw in a little fact for you. In 1992, Street Fighter II on the Super Nintendo sold for $74.99. Adjusted for inflation, that is $120 in today's currency. Street Fighter II had 8 characters only, no online, no training. It was simply the fighting game only mode, fighting and versus. That's all you got, and nobody complained then. Now we are getting Killer Instinct with 8 characters, a training mode, online gameplay, and all kinds of future updates, and it costs $20. Yet we're bitching about the size of the roster and the fact that it's not a full retail game. Let me tell you, Killer Instinct is going to benefit greatly by having a slow character rollout. This means that before a new character comes out, they can be tested by the pros ahead of time and then balanced and updated rather than, this is the game you get, this is the game you got forever. Killer Instinct looks like it's going to turn a lot of heads when it finally comes out, and I really hope the approach it's taken to fighters takes hold into the notoriously stubborn Japanese developer mindset. We don't get arcade location tests out here, but this is going to be the next best thing. In fact, it could be even better. So I'm looking forward to Killer Instinct because I've played it, it's a lot of fun, and it does exactly what the fighting game community needs right now. Number 3, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Fuck you, Nintendo, for pushing this to February. I guarantee this fucker's done, and you're holding out on it because you got jack shit to put on your Wii U in the next year. Early next year was what I mean, of course. Regardless, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze was a little underwhelming when it was first shown off, but the newest gameplay videos and walkthroughs has blown my mind. The mine carts through Atlantis, the giant hot air balloon canyon levels, holy fuck, this looks like platforming perfection, done by the masters at Retro Studios. I am looking forward to this game immensely. I can't wait to get my hands on it. I'm just really salty that I gotta wait till February now, and only Mario 3D World is going to occupy my Wii U this fall. That fucking sucks. Still, at least there's a lot of good stuff to come, such as... Number 2, Bayonetta 2. Bayonetta 1 is the greatest action game of all time, at least in 3D. No, you can't argue this fact. No, you can't use any other game as an example or counter-argument. You are wrong. Bayonetta 1 was the greatest action game ever. Bayonetta 2 looks to build on it by having all kinds of crazy, insane action, and of course new moves, new transformations, and new gameplay hooks, such as the Umbran Climax. What's really nice about Bayonetta 2 is that it has a solid 60 frames per second and still looks really good. A lot of that is of course thanks to its art direction, but it's just really fast and fluid. The game demo we've seen starts on the back of a Harrier jump jet while you battle all kinds of demons and Cerberus and Pegasus and all kinds of who knows what the fuck in the middle of it, and then he gets blown out of the sky and you land on a train and fight a giant baby doll worm arm thing. I don't know what the fuck. There's no way to explain this game other than it's really awesome, it's really fast paced, and it feels fluid and instantly gratifying in your hands. Bayonetta 2 is a major exclusive for the Wii U and a major reason why I own the system. I can't wait for the game to come out, and I know it's going to be amazing. Number 1. X, or Xenoblade II, or New Monolith soft title by Nintendo. It doesn't matter what you call it, this game looks unfucking believably good. Xenoblade 1 was the greatest JRPG in many, many years. Yes, it was better than the output of Square Enix for at least the last 10, if not 15 years. Yes, it is that good. Xenoblade combined the open world nature of a lot of Western RPGs with a lot of classic Japanese RPG sensibilities and character development. It was a revelation, even though it was never intended to be. What X looks to bring to the table is, of course, multiplayer and mechs. Much like Titanfall, it's taking a winning formula, beloved by all, and adding giant transforming fucking robots to the mix. Another really cool feature is the fact that it looks to bring in a multiplayer component with at least 4 players. Running around the world of Bayonetta, or whatever it ends up being, I'm not going to spoil anything from the end of Xenoblade, looks to be a huge amount of fun. Can you imagine just running around with different players from all around the world, using different types of weapons and fighting types, and fighting giant creatures, and jumping into huge mechs, and flying through the sky, racing across lakes and rivers? Oh my god, everything about this looks fantastic. And not just from a visual standpoint, listen to the music in this game. Holy shit, I had not heard of this anime composer before, but he is knocking it out of the park so far. X is the greatest looking game coming for the Wii U. It's my most anticipated game for anything next gen related or not, and it's the one game I want to play most of all. Now, for those who might be afraid it's not, going to come to America, or we may have to deal with the Operation Rainfall, I know for a fact that there is a playable build of this running inside Nintendo of America's offices right now. Yes, it is being localized as we speak. It will be coming to America. Nintendo will not repeat the same mistake twice. This is going to be a huge game, and we know it's going to be huge, and the reason we know is because all the footage we've seen has been almost entirely gameplay. No cutscenes, no story, no pre-rendered footage, no No fancy camera angles, just straight up gameplay. And that is why X is my most anticipated game of the next generation console cycle. So there you have it, top 10 games of next gen that's coming out that I want to play, which means they're the best games that are coming out and the games you should be playing. If you don't like it, well, you can comment below and I will continue to not read it. But if you are so inclined to get into a commenting war with other YouTubers, feel free. So go ahead, comment below, let us know what you think and what you would like to see us play and what we're actually gonna play. See you next time, dudes!